Welcome to the Leadership TKO podcast, your source of strategies and insight to make you a winning leader. With no further ado, here is your host, Lakeisha McKnight. Alrighty, great evening, everybody. Hello there. Hello to you, and welcome once again. Welcome to the Leadership TKO night show via podcast. Glad to be here on this lovely Thursday. It is, of course, Thursday, October 12th, 2017. It's 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here live in Chesapeake, Virginia, here in the United States or North America. Now, maybe, of course, daytime and maybe afternoon or even morning where you are, but we thank you so much on behalf of the team members of the iLead company that houses this night show. I appreciate you. We appreciate you, and thank you for being connected. So before we even get into anything tonight, discussing any background information, the purpose of the podcast, we want to go ahead and share and let people know that we're live, that you are live, that you are here listening in tonight. So feel free, even if you're listening to this after it's been broadcasted live and you're listening to it on demand, feel free to share this episode with other entrepreneurs, with other leaders, or even speakers that you know. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to practice what I preach. And I'm going to share this on a platform that we leverage the most, which is Facebook. So I'm going to share on my timeline first and foremost. So let me go ahead and do that. And feel free to be doing this as I am doing it now. So I'm going to go ahead and type in join me now as I am live. Okay. So here we go. Okay. Here we go. So of course, I'm getting this together and boom, just posted it. Okay, on my timeline. So that's good. All right. I got a little bit of an error on the title. So we're going to go back and fix that. Okay. We're going to go back and we're going to fix that. And I don't know if we can fix it now, but we're going to go back and take care of it. Okay. So listen, we want you to go ahead and share. Let people know that we are indeed live. We have a little bit of an error. Probably by the time you see this, the title will be edited, but we have a little bit of an error in our title. So it's all good. So feel free, of course, to share and let people know that we are indeed live. And so we're going to be talking about something important today. But before we talk about the content at hand, what I am going to do is to share a little bit of background, whether you're new to the podcast or whether you've been connected for some time. The Night Show via podcast is just one of many podcasts, a part of the Leadership TKO internet radio station. We have other hosts a part of it, including E. Claudette Freeman. She has a show called The Right Word Awaken that airs every first and third Thursday at 11:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to tune in and to support her as she provides great content and value in the world. And so I do encourage you to stick around. We do this podcast. We're normally here from Sundays through Fridays at about 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this night show, the station itself, all of it is a part of the Leadership TKO brand that's housed under the iLead company, LLC. Now, iLead is an acronym as well. iLead actually stands for the International Leadership Education and Development Company. That's right, iLead. And the mission of the iLead company and the brand itself is to partner up with associations, with universities, small businesses or entrepreneurs, and faith-based groups to build winning leaders. Okay. So again, thank you so very much for being connected here to the brand, to the podcast, and all that we have going on. And if you want to find out more information, learn what we have going on a day-by-day basis, feel free to visit the website, which is www.leadershiptko.com. Again, it's www.leadershiptko.com. That's where you're going to find out more information about the USA location. We do have a small branch of the company that's in Nigeria, Africa, that's listed under iLead SOE, or School of Empowerment. So again, thank you so much for being connected. Now, on Thursdays, we dedicate Thursdays to two things. Number one, the TKO Global Reality Show. This is a part of a campaign that I'm going to give you more information about towards the end of this episode. And then number two, it's also Pro Speaker Thursdays. Okay. Now with Pro Speaker Thursdays, we're helping speakers to leverage their voice so that they can grow their influence, their impact, and their income. So if you're a speaker, whether you're aspiring to get out there one day and speak in front of millions of people or hundreds of people, whether you are a minister or some type of religious leader, if you are already speaking and you just want to strengthen what you got going on, this is the right place for you. And I encourage you to lock in this time on Thursdays to come in and be a part of the internet radio station with Leadership TKO. So again, welcome to this show. So we had a special message that we shared on our blog today, and actually quite recently, I believe within the last 2 or 3 hours or so. And the name of the message was how your voice impacts your success. Your voice impacts your success. Okay. And so what I want to do at this particular moment is just share with you a little bit about what it is that we shared from this episode and from this message on the blog. We talk about how, there's a technique that's really impactful, that impacts your speaking. And that's simply how you use your voice, really. Because the voice is a marvelous tool. It has the power to express emotions, complex ideas, humor, or outrage. And yet, for some reason, many public speakers, when they stand up to do a formal presentation, they lose 90% of the expression in their voices. All of a sudden, we all start to sound like a boring math teacher drowning in a monotone, even if the subject we're talking about is very interesting, human or emotional. So we have to be careful and just pay attention to how we're using our voices during presentations. I mean, you really do have a lot of vocal tone available to you that you naturally use when you speak person to person and when you're relaxed. But what really causes speakers to switch to a monotone or a reduced amount of vocal tones when speaking is when you're nervous. So when nerves get in the way, you start to sound very flat and very monotone. So we have to learn how to kind of fluctuate, kind of relax. And the normal way that I ask people to relax is by pausing and taking a deep breath. It can be totally relaxing, and can help you out in a tremendous way. Also on the blog message today, we talk about 2 great exercises that you can really implement to help you out. And these exercises will definitely be of benefit for you. So I encourage you, even when we're finished with this podcast message tonight, if you can, definitely come back here within the next half hour, 40 minutes, check out the link to the blog message and read the entire message on the blog. You will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed by far. And there's also a link I would love for you to join and click on. It's a link that's going to lead you to a group on Facebook where many speakers who desire to have more out of their speaking careers are located, and they're going to get the best of the crop, meaning that there's going to be some training, some courses and such provided that's going to help them to elevate, help them to really get to their next level in their speaking career. So I invite you to join and be a part of the fun. All right. So be sure to get to that blog post. We shared it today on our global TKO blog. Now, when I say our, I'm talking about the fact that you are a part of the family. And so when the messages are shared, it's for you to feast on. It's for you to really be fed and to help you to elevate and get to where it is that you want to go in your speaking career. And so feel free at any point to share this content with other speakers that you know, because it can help them just as much as it's helping you. It really can. So share, and share again. All right. So here's the other thing that I want to share with you tonight. Of course, we don't have an interview that we're going to be providing tonight, but I am going to provide for you some insight. I am going to share with you a little bit about my journey as it pertains to speaking, as it pertains to leadership, a little bit about my journey, and where we're going and where I see myself going in the next year. Okay. How about we do that? Sometimes we don't take a moment to kind of share the vision and where we see ourselves going. And so I want to take a moment to do that. Now, of course, the details may not be all provided during this one episode, but I'm just going to share a little bit. Now, my speaking journey, many people that have been following me along the way, you know that my journey and my foundation started in musical theater. If you didn't know, you probably know at this particular point, okay? It started in musical theater, and I was a part of a troupe called the Positive Impact Ensemble. And this group I was with, we traveled up and down New Jersey and Pennsylvania before high school students and some of the staff there, and we were seeking to lower the statistics for discrimination in high schools. That was our job. And it was prevalent. It's still prevalent now. It may be a little bit more blunt, the way that things are going now, but it was a lot going on during that time. And work needed to happen. And so I stepped in there and I was assisting a group of other actors who are also doing the same. And we did other things beyond that. I did some musical theater. We did some plays in New Jersey. Snow White and the Seven Elves was one of them. It was just beautiful times. Even Beauty and the Beast, we performed that, and so many others. And so one of the other things that I want to share with you is that even beyond that, I had a theatrical coach who helped me to understand the ropes, how to work the stage, how to work my voice, how to really grab the attention of the audience, and so much more. Little did I know that God was going to use that training to help me to get, move along the path of being a speaker. I didn't know it. I was nervous during that time. I mean, there's so many stories before that I can share, but that was really, I believe, one of the foundational moments for me in my career. And of course, I got connected. I always grew up in church, right? Always grew up in church. But I remember moments of having to do the announcements at church. And I think at that point I was a part of a Baptist church at the time. And so I had to do announcements and didn't understand why. I felt like it was kind of the dry, same old announcements every Sunday, but I did it nonetheless. Okay. I did it nonetheless. And, I just began to see growth and things were shared with me, right? Prophetically about what possible things may possibly happen as far as outgrowing where I was. And little did I know, yes, it did begin to happen. Growth began to happen. Then I began to grow stronger and closer to God and seeking and asking him, what is it that he wanted to do with me in my life? Of course, I got a college education, and it was when I was in college, it was at this point that he introduced me to a group, and it was a Christian sorority, and God used that sorority to draw me closer to him and for him to begin to talk to me about what it is, well, at least part of what it was that he wanted me to accomplish in life. And it really knocked me to my knees simply because I thought I was going to be an attorney professionally, like in the career journey world. I was like, I'm gonna be an attorney and things like that. I wanted to really advocate for people who were being taken advantage of. But when I fully joined the sorority, which was Alpha Nu Omega Christian Sorority Incorporated, when I joined that sorority, he used that and helped me to understand what he had in mind for my life. And that involved ministry. And of course, I sat back and I thought it was a little bit comical at the time, because I said, okay, well, how are you going to use this small inner city kid who experienced trauma in her childhood? No one's going to listen to this little girl. Mind you, I was really tiny at the time. I'm tiny now. I lost a lot of weight, but I was tiny then. and so I'm like, God, how are you going to use this little tiny girl traumatized, through sexual abuse and so much more? How are you going to do this. And I talk with them real talk. I was like, well, first, I'm not going to go out there and do things that I know and that you're not going to like. I'm not going to embarrass you in any form or fashion. I'm not going to do that, right? And so he let me know that he's in control really quickly, because as I sought and I asked for help, he began to bring help. So be aware of what you ask God for, because depending on what it is, he's going to give it to you immediately, especially if he wants you to use that for that, your assignment in this season. He will deliver. He will provide. And so, of course, he provided me with help. I began to receive close discipleship from a pastor. And at that particular point, I went back. I think I outgrew the church. There was some other stuff that happened, being rejected by some of the religious leaders there, because they didn't really, I don't think they believed in women in the pulpit. And I'm quite sure some other people probably experienced the same thing. And so I went back home to a church that I was raised in, which was an apostolic church that I was raised in. And at that particular time, I think it was the first or maybe second day after arriving to the apostolic church is when the confirmation was announced that God had officially, that it was it. Like, he has called me into the ministry. That was the point. And that's when I knew that God's voice was just as plain as day to me, and that I was clearly hearing his voice, because he was sharing with me these things along the way. But it was those moments along the way you're like, nah, that can't happen. No, absolutely not. It's not right. It's almost like Sarah from the Bible. You're like, that's impossible, right? Knowing that Sarah was like 99 years old or something, 90 years old. How is she going to have a baby at her old age? Well, I sort of kind of had that type of season or moment. But I digress. And so he began to share with me that it's really not about the outward appearance, but it's about the heart. He began to, share with me how, he began to compare me, of course, to David, him being so small in stature, yet he had the heart after God. And so he began to share those things with me, and sharing with me the journey that I was going to have to endure, just like Joseph did. Right? He began to share with me all these different things. And, I went through that and I progressed forward. I didn't really find a whole lot of mentors to kind of mentor me in speaking. So I know that my biggest mentor was God, right, in the journey. But I did get connected to great people like Robert Kiyosaki and his team. I got connected, of course, later on down the line, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, to John Maxwell, right? So all these things happened along the line. I also got connected to great people in leadership in Africa and other places. But I say all this to say that everyone's journey is different. And my journey was definitely unique. But I definitely see that there is more work to be done. And I want to do more. We started a wonderful campaign this year, and I know a wonderful young lady that's a part of the campaign. She's an ambassador for the Virginia state here in the United States of America, and that's Janine Harrod Brown. I know she's listening right now, and I appreciate you, Janine, for being connected to the podcast tonight and overall to the campaign and to the brand itself. Thank you so much. And so we started this campaign, myself and 5 other amazing women. They have their own businesses, but they decided to partner up with the iLead company to allow this campaign to move forward and to gain traction. And this campaign is actually connected. It's like the fuel to the subdivision of the company, which is Leadership TKO for Women. Okay, Leadership TKO for Women. And it's this campaign, the Born to Lead Global Women's Leadership Campaign, that is the fuel. And I definitely see myself in a year from now having traveled to various states across the country. Now, I know it seems a little backwards because I have some news to share with you at the very end of this. But traveling to various states in this country and sharing about winning leadership, how to become a winning leader, through the Born to Lead Global Women's Leadership Campaign. And I see this happening in various states. I see women connecting, getting on board, putting groups together, and us coming together to empower the women in their state, to really step it up a notch and make a difference. Bringing women out there to the conferences. I don't care if they've been battered or bruised. I don't care if they don't have money or not. Coming to the conferences, coming to the events, and being poured into. And so this is what I see. And it can be, of course, more detail is going to be shared about the plan. But I definitely see myself traveling. I know there's 12 months in the year. I definitely see myself going to at least maybe about 20, possibly 30. I say about between 20 to 30 states in this country, in the United States next year, 2018. So that's where I see myself, is just really focusing in with the company itself, really focusing in on the Born to Lead campaign. Primarily, I know I have these other subdivisions going on with speakers and authors, and they're going to grow probably as a result of the campaign. So that is really where I see things going. There's so much more to come. There's so much more that God is doing. We just looked at some of the stats for the TKO growth, especially through the night show and the radio station. We just saw that we have major growth with people listening. Those of you listening from Australia, many of you listening in from Ghana over the last 7 days. And so we appreciate you. We thank you so much for listening in. And just really connecting in such a powerful way. We appreciate you. We really do. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you so much for being connected. Thank you for being dedicated to your growth by being connected to the Leadership TKO night show via podcast. We really do appreciate it. But I do want to share with you that if you do want to be a part of what we have going on with the Born to Lead Global Women's Leadership Campaign, it's not hard to get on board. As a matter of fact, it's extremely easy. And the way that you can do this is by going to www.borntolead2017.com. And the reason why you would want to go to this website is because there's several ways that you can grow through this campaign. I don't want to focus on things that are temporary, like money. That's temporary. But with the campaign, there's going to be a little bit of a shifting going on with the campaign. And I say because we're going to cater to the woman, the total woman, through this campaign. I'm talking about the spiritual nature of the woman. I'm talking about the mental, the physical. We're focusing on the woman because in order to reach the woman for career development, you have to reach her personally. And that means you. We have to reach you personally. So in order to really help you, we have to make sure that inside you're well, because the only way that you're going to lead others well is if you are being led well personally. Okay. And so what we're going to shift and do is we're definitely going to have a spiritual element to it. And it's definitely going to have a foundation of believing in God, but most importantly, okay. And I want you to understand that we're going to reflect on biblical principles with this campaign. It's not going to be so much, we're going to really preach and talk about different religions of the world within the campaign. I can't lie and tell you, hey, that's what we're going to do. But there may be some scripture reflected here and there connected to the campaign. Is this a religious campaign? No. But if there's spiritual development going on, then it's going to be reflected by way of the Bible. Okay. So just be aware of that as we're moving forward, that's going to be probably an element that's really heavy a bit as we're transitioning into 2018. All right. So I just wanted to mention that piece as well. Right. But again, the reason why you want to be connected is because of the personal and professional development that you will obtain as a result of being connected. So the way that I'm going to recommend for you to get connected is again through that website, www.born, which is BORN, to lead, LEAD 2017.com. And you want to make sure you visit this website on a desktop or a laptop computer only. If you try on a cell phone, you might be disappointed. You might face some concerns, okay? So please try it out on a desktop or a laptop computer. With this campaign, remember, you're going to get personal development, which means life skills mentorship. We also have another element, a part of this, which is leadership and business training. And this is going to shift just a little bit as well. So stay tuned for that. We also have small business Saturdays that we've provided as well. So stay tuned. A lot of this is shifting, a lot of change, good change is going on. Even with the campaign, change is going to be happening. It's going to occur gradually. Okay. And so you'll be made aware inside of the group, and the group dynamics is going to change too. Right now, as soon as you complete the questionnaire at that website, you're going to be taken to the main site. But we are going to ensure that the main site, which is a group on Facebook, is healthy. Okay, we're always checking for the healthiness of our groups. All right, so that's what I wanted to share there. The big news too is that the Born to Lead campaign, and thus, of course, Leadership TKO itself, is heading into Nigeria a bit more. We're bringing the campaign more specifically into Nigeria. Now, of course, iLead Company is already in Africa. All right, it's already in Africa. It's specifically already in Nigeria. But as far as the campaign is concerned, the Born to Lead Global Women's Leadership Campaign, it will be brought to the women of Nigeria. Okay, to the women of Nigeria. So be aware, because my nonprofit organization is heading into Nigeria this coming week, and we're expanding the nonprofit there. But as a result of the presentation that I'm going to talk about women of elevation, of course. Okay, that by far is going to be shared. We're going to share information about the nonprofit organization, but most importantly, the women there there needs to be a touch of leadership going on. And that's what I'm going to talk about in my presentation. But I do appreciate the fact that you stuck around to this particular point. I really do. We shared a lot tonight. I shared a lot about my heart, my journey itself, my desire for the next year. And I shared a little bit about what is to come with the campaign. So now the ball is back in your court as to what actions you're going to take tonight as a result of listening into this message. You know, are you going to join the campaign? Are you going to be connected? Are you going to work on self? Okay, improving your ability to lead yourself well so that you can lead others? Are you going to enhance your speaking voice? These are all questions I want to ask you. And hopefully the answer to all of those questions is yes. And so thank you so much for listening in tonight. Of course, tomorrow is Fitness Friday, where we're helping leaders to focus on health, wellness, and fitness so that you truly can increase your influence, your impact, and your income. The only way to do it is if you're well physically. So we're going to be focusing in on that tomorrow. But I appreciate you. I thank you. And until tomorrow, I do encourage each and every one of you to think, to speak, and to live leadership.
Thanks for listening to the Leadership TKO podcast. To continue the conversation of how to take your leadership from good to great, visit www.leadershiptko.com.